Welcome and settle in, wherever you are right now. Whether you are lying down, resting your eyes, or simply letting the day fade away, this moment is just for you. A quiet space where English can enter your mind naturally and without effort. If you are new here, this is English in Mastery, a place where you don't force English, you live with it. And if you enjoy learning in a calm, real, and effective way, take a second now to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It helps more than you think and keeps these long, peaceful lessons coming. Now take a slow breath in and let it go. You don't need to focus hard. You don't need to remember everything. Your only job is to listen and allow English to flow through you. Tonight, you're not studying. You're absorbing. You're letting your brain do what it does best when it's relaxed. Learning quietly in the background. Imagine the lights around you, slowly dimming. Your body becoming heavier. Eye colder. And with each breath, English feels less like a foreign language and more like a familiar voice. A voice you've heard before. Maybe in movies. Maybe in real conversations. Maybe in your own thoughts. Listen gently now. Imagine it's early morning and the city is just waking up. The air is cool and quiet. You step outside and think to yourself, it feels peaceful this morning. The streets are calm. And for a moment, everything feels slow and clear. You pass someone walking their dog and they smile, saying, "Good morning." You smile back and reply, "Good morning. I hope you're having a nice start to the day." This is real English. Simple, warm, natural, and your mind understands it without translating. Now imagine stopping by a small cafe. The door opens softly. The smell of coffee fills the room. And the barista looks up and asks, "What can I get for you today?" You pause for a second, relaxed, and say, "I'll have a coffee. Please. Just black." The barista nods and replies, "Sure thing. That'll be ready in a moment." You say, "Thank you. I appreciate it." These short exchanges may seem ordinary, but this is exactly how fluent English lives. In everyday moments, not in textbooks, not in complicated rules, but in calm, human interaction. As you listen, your brain begins to recognize patterns, tone, rhythm, the way sentences rise and fall naturally. You're not memorizing. You're tuning in. Now imagine sitting by the window with your coffee, watching people pass by. You hear fragments of conversation around you. Someone says, "It's going to be a long day." Another person laughs and replies, "Yeah, but at least the weather's nice." You notice how relaxed the voices sound, how natural the pauses are. English breathes. It doesn't rush, and neither do you. Take another slow breath, and let these sounds settle deeper. Now imagine checking your phone and seeing a message from a friend. It says, "How's your morning going?" You think for a moment and type back, "It's going well. Just taking things slow today." Hope your day starts off smoothly too. Notice how easy that feels. No pressure. No overthinking. Just real language connected to real feeling. Now let your mind drift to a different moment. Imagine you're at work or studying. Someone nearby asks, "Are you free later to talk about the project?" And you answer calmly, "Yes, I should be free after lunch. We can go over it then." They nod and say, "Perfect. That works for me." Again, simple, Clear. Natural. Your brain is learning how English moves in real life. How people respond without stress. Without perfect sentences. Just communication. Now, as your body relaxes more deeply, allow your thoughts to slow. English doesn't demand your attention. It stays with you quietly, like soft music playing in the background. Imagine walking home in the evening, the sky changing colors, and you think, it's been a long day, but it feels good to slow down. You pass a store and hear someone say, "Take care. Have a good night." And you reply without thinking, "You too. See you tomorrow." This is fluency. Responding naturally, without translating in your head. Now let's gently repeat a few thoughts. Not out loud. Just softly in your mind. I'm getting more comfortable with English. I understand more each time I listen. English feels calmer and more familiar to me. Let those thoughts float. There's no rush, no goal to reach right now. Just listening. Now imagine sitting at home, changing into comfortable clothes, and thinking, I'm glad to finally relax. You might say quietly, I'm going to take it easy tonight. Maybe listen to something calming. Maybe just rest. And as you lie down, you hear a familiar voice in English saying, You did enough today. Tomorrow can wait. Your mind understands every word. Not because you studied harder, but because you stayed consistent. It's fire. And open. Now imagine one more simple scene. Someone asks you, How was your day? And you reply, It was busy, but I learned a lot. And that sentence feels true. Because right now, you are learning, even while resting. Your brain is connecting sounds, meaning, emotion, building fluency quietly, deeply, naturally. Stay with this feeling. There's nothing else you need to do. Nothing to fix. Nothing to force. Just keep listening. Keep breathing. And let English become part of you. One calm moment at a time. The night feels quieter now. Your breathing is slower. And your thoughts are softer. English continues to move through your mind like a gentle rhythm. Not loud. Not demanding. Just present. Steady. Familiar. Imagine you're lying in bed. The room is dim, and the world outside feels far away. You think quietly, this is my time to rest, to reset, to let go of the noise of the day. And in that calm space, English becomes lighter, easier, less like something to learn, and more like something you simply understand. Now imagine the next morning, beginning slowly, sunlight touching the curtains. And your first thought is, it's a new day. I have time. I don't need to rush. You sit up, stretch your arms, and think, I feel rested. I feel clear. I feel ready. These are simple thoughts, but they shape how your mind works in English. Naturally, gently. Now imagine walking into the kitchen, the quiet sound of morning, and you say to yourself, I should make some tea, maybe some coffee, something warm, something simple. You open the window and feel the air, and think, the air feels fresh today. I like mornings like this. Calm, quiet, slow. Now imagine your phone lights up again. Another message. It says, Did you sleep well? And without effort, you think, Yes, I did. I feel good today. Notice how natural that feels. No translation. No tension. Just meaning, now imagine stepping outside. The street is waking up. A neighbor walks past and says, "Morning." You reply, "Morning. Have a good day." It feels easy, automatic, human. This is how real English works. Through rhythm, repetition, and calm exposure. Not pressure. Now let your mind drift to another moment. You're on your way somewhere. Maybe work, maybe class, maybe just walking. And you hear someone talking nearby. They say, "I need to finish this today." And another voice replies, "Yeah, same here. It's one of those days." Your brain understands the feeling behind the words. The shared tiredness. The shared routine. Language connected to life. Not just sound. Now imagine sitting somewhere quiet. Maybe on a bus. Maybe in a cafe. And you hear music playing softly. You think, "This feels peaceful. I like moments like this." And that thought forms naturally in English. Not forced. Not practiced. Just present. Now, let's gently shape a few inner thoughts together. I'm learning every day. Even when I'm resting. English is becoming familiar to me. I feel more confident listening and understanding. Let those sentences move through you slowly, like a soft echo. Now, imagine a simple conversation. Someone asks, "What are you doing later?" And you respond, "I'm not sure yet. Probably just going to relax and take it easy." They smile and say, "Sounds nice." You reply, "Yeah, I need a quiet evening." This is real English. Everyday English. The kind people use without thinking. The kind your brain is learning now. Through exposure, not effort. Now imagine coming home again. The day is done. And you think, "I'm tired. But it was a good day. I did what I could." That's enough for today. And in that quiet space, English doesn't feel like a task. It feels like a companion. Something that moves with you, not against you. Now allow your thoughts to slow even more. There's nothing you need to remember. Nothing you need to repeat perfectly. Your subconscious is listening. Absorbing patterns, tone, rhythm, and structure. Without you trying. This is how deep learning happens. Now imagine one more soft moment. You're lying down, eyes closed, and you hear a calm inner voice saying, "You're improving. You're getting more comfortable." English is becoming part of your natural thinking. And that feels true. Not because you worked harder, but because you stayed consistent. And are calm and open. Now stay in this quiet space. Let the words fade into the background of your mind. Like distant music. Gentle, steady, safe. And let English continue to grow inside you. Quietly, naturally, without effort, without pressure, just presence. Your body feels heavier now, more relaxed, and your thoughts move slowly, smoothly, like water. English continues to settle deeper, not on the surface, but underneath, where understanding becomes automatic. Imagine the sound of the room around you. Maybe a soft hum. Maybe complete silence. And in that stillness, your mind stays open, receptive, calm. Now, imagine a familiar moment from daily life. You're standing in line somewhere, maybe a store, maybe a cafe, and someone in front of you turns and says, "Sorry about the wait. It's taking longer than I expected." And without thinking, You reply, "No worries. It's fine. I'm not in a rush." Notice how natural that feels, how common those words are, how often native speakers use them. This is everyday English, the kind you hear and use without effort. Now imagine reaching the counter. The cashier looks tired but friendly and asks, "How's it going?" You smile softly and answer, "It's going okay. Just one of those days." They nod and say, "I get that. Hang in there." You respond, "Thanks. I will." These short exchanges build real fluency because they reflect real life. Not perfect grammar, not long explanations, just shared understanding. Now let your mind drift again. Imagine sitting somewhere quiet, maybe at home, maybe outside, and you hear someone on the phone nearby saying, "I'll call you back later. I'm a bit busy right now." Another voice responds, "No problem. Talk to you later." Your brain absorbs how people soften their words, how they sound polite without being formal, how English adapts to mood and context. Now imagine checking the time and thinking, "It's getting late. I should probably head home." That thought feels complete, natural, like something you've said before. Now imagine a friend asking, "Do you want to come over later?" And you answer honestly, "I'd like to, but I'm pretty tired tonight. Maybe another time." They reply, "Yeah, no worries. We'll catch up soon." This is real communication. Clear, kind, relaxed. Now, let's gently repeat a few thoughts together. Quietly, internally. I don't need perfect English to communicate well. People understand me when I speak naturally. My listening gets better every time I relax and listen. Let those thoughts sink in. Now imagine the end of the day approaching again. The sky darkens. And you think, "I did enough today. Tomorrow is another chance." That sentence carries comfort, acceptance, balance, and your brain understands it fully. Now imagine lying down, feeling the weight of the day, leave your body, and English stays with you like a calm presence. Not loud, not demanding, just there. Now imagine a simple question someone might ask you tomorrow. "How are you feeling lately?" And you reply calmly, "I'm feeling better, taking things one day at a time." That answer feels honest, grounded, real. Now let your breathing slow even more. In through the nose, out through the mouth. And as you breathe, English continues to work quietly in the background, building familiarity, confidence, ease. There's nothing you need to do right now, nothing you need to prove. Just stay here, listening, resting, letting the language become part of you. Naturally, gently, in its own time. And as your thoughts drift further, English drifts with them, steady, soft, and deeply familiar. The space around you feels softer now, almost weightless, and your mind drifts without effort. English continues to flow quietly, like a familiar voice you trust. Imagine a calm afternoon, the kind where time moves slowly, and you're not rushing anywhere. You might be sitting by a window, watching light move across the floor, and you think, "It's nice to have a moment like this." No pressure, no noise, just space to breathe. That thought forms easily in English because it matches a feeling you already know. Now imagine a small interruption. Your phone rings, and a familiar voice says, "Hey, Just checking in. How are things going? You smile and reply, things are going well. Just taking it easy today. They respond, that sounds good. We all need days like that. Your brain absorbs the warmth in the exchange, the natural pacing, the simple structure. Now imagine another everyday moment. You're walking past a store, and someone inside calls out, let me know if you need anything. You respond without stopping. Thanks. I'll let you know. Short, polite, effortless. These are the phrases native speakers rely on daily. Now, let your thoughts move to a slightly different setting. Maybe you're sitting at a desk, maybe a table, and someone nearby asks, did you get a chance to look at that message? You pause briefly and say, yeah, I saw it. I'll take care of it later today. They nod and reply, sounds good. Just keep me posted. You answer, will do. Notice how smooth that exchange feels. How little energy it takes. Now imagine stepping outside again. The air feels different. Maybe warmer. Maybe cooler. And you think, the weather's changed a bit. It feels calmer now. That observation feels natural. Because it's something people say all the time. Now, let's gently form a few inner sentences together. I'm starting to think more naturally in English. I don't panic when I hear longer sentences. I understand the feeling. Even when I don't catch every word. Let those ideas settle. Now, imagine a quiet conversation in the evening. Someone asks, how was work today? And you answer honestly, it was busy, but manageable. Nothing too stressful. They smile and say, that's good to hear. You reply, yeah, I'm glad it went smoothly. This kind of language builds confidence because it reflects real emotional balance, not extremes. Now imagine preparing for rest again. Maybe making a light meal. Maybe just sitting quietly. And you think, I'm starting to feel tired. I think I'll turn in early tonight. That sentence feels complete. Calm. Satisfying. Now imagine one more soft interaction. Someone says, don't forget to get some rest. And you respond, I won't. I need it. Thanks for the reminder. Notice the tone. Friendly. Relaxed. Human. Now let your breathing slow even further. Your body sinks into comfort. And English stays with you, gently. Reinforcing patterns. Tone. Meaning, without effort. Without focus. Just presence. Your mind doesn't need to hold on to anything. It simply allows the language to pass through. Becoming familiar. Trustworthy. Natural. Stay here. Listening. Resting. And letting English continue to settle deeper. Like a calm voice that stays with you through the quiet. The quiet stretches out gently. And your mind feels open and unhurried. English moves through this space without effort. Imagine the sound of footsteps in the distance. A door closing softly. The world carrying on while you remain still. And in that stillness, language becomes clearer, easier, more familiar. Now imagine a simple moment from everyday life. You're sitting somewhere comfortable, and someone nearby asks, do you mind if I sit here? You look up and reply, no, not at all. Go ahead. The exchange is brief, polite, natural, and your brain understands the intention immediately. Now, imagine the two of you sit quietly for a moment, and then they say, It's been a long day, hasn't it? You nod and answer, yeah, it really has. I'm glad it's winding down. They smile in agreement. This is how people connect. Through small shared observations, not big explanations. Now, let your thoughts drift again. Imagine you're planning something simple, maybe the weekend, and you think, I don't have much planned. I'll just see how things go. That thought feels easy, flexible, open. Now imagine someone asking you, are you doing anything special this weekend? And you reply, not really. Just taking it easy and catching up on rest. They respond, that sounds perfect. Sometimes simple is best. You smile and think, exactly. Now, imagine a quiet workspace again. Someone asks, can you send that over when you get a chance? And you respond calmly, sure. I'll send it later today. No rush. They say, thanks. I appreciate it. You reply, no problem at all. Notice how English handles cooperation, softens requests, keeps things smooth. Now let's gently form a few deeper thoughts together. I don't need to rush my progress. Fluency grows naturally over time. The more I listen, the more comfortable I become. Let those ideas sink in without effort. Now imagine walking home as evening deepens. The lights turn on one by one, and you think, the day went by faster than I expected. But it feels complete. That sense of completion matters, and English carries it naturally. Now imagine settling in again. Maybe sitting on the couch, maybe lying down, and you think, I'm ready to slow down now. The world can wait until tomorrow. That sentence brings calm. Now imagine a gentle voice nearby saying, take your time. There's no need to hurry. And you understand every word, every tone, because it matches how you feel. Now let your breathing become steady and deep. In and out. Slow and even. And as you breathe, English stays with you quietly, reinforcing meaning, tuile structure, rhythm, without pressure, without awareness. Your mind is learning in the background, connecting sounds to feelings, sentences to real moments. This is how English becomes part of you, not something separate. Now, remain here, calm, still, and open, letting the language continue to settle deeper, softer, more naturally. As you rest, the silence around you feels deeper now, fuller, as if the world has gently stepped back. And in this quiet, English continues its slow, steady work. Imagine the soft rhythm of your breathing, in and out, calm and even. And notice how your thoughts no longer rush. They drift. They settle. Now imagine a familiar late evening moment. You're sitting somewhere comfortable, maybe with a blanket, maybe just resting your arms. And you think, this is exactly what I needed today. That sentence feels complete, honest, unforced. Now imagine someone nearby saying, you look relaxed. And you reply softly, yeah, I finally am. It's been a long day. They nod and say, I can tell. You deserve the rest. This exchange carries warmth, understanding, and ease. And your mind absorbs not just the words, but the feeling behind them. Now imagine another everyday moment. You're scrolling through your phone, slowly, not really focused on anything. And you think, I don't feel like doing much right now. And that's okay. That acceptance is something native speakers express often, not dramatically, just quietly. Now imagine a message arriving. It says, "Did you finish everything you needed to do today?" And you reply honestly, "Not everything, but enough for today. I'll take care of the rest tomorrow." Notice how balanced that sounds. Not rushed, not apologetic, just realistic. Now let your mind drift again. Imagine a calm conversation from earlier in the day. Someone said, "Let's catch up soon." And you replied, "Yeah, that sounds good. Just let me know when works for you." These phrases appear again and again in real life because they keep things flexible and easy. Now imagine walking into a quiet room, maybe a library, maybe your own space, and thinking, "I like the quiet in here. It helps me clear my head." That thought feels natural, grounded. Now imagine sitting down and someone asks, "Do you want me to turn the light down?" And you answer, "Yeah, that would be nice. Thank you." Short, soft, human. Now let's gently guide a few deeper inner sentences. I feel more at ease with English than before. Listening feels natural, not stressful. My understanding improves when I relax. Let these ideas rest in your mind without effort. Now imagine the night growing later, the sounds outside becoming fewer, and you think, "It's getting really quiet now. Almost peaceful." That observation feels calm, reflective. Now imagine someone saying good night. "Sleep well." And you reply, "Good night. See you tomorrow." Even if it's just in your thoughts. That exchange feels familiar, safe. Now imagine lying down fully, your body supported, your muscles letting go one by one. And you think, "I can finally let everything go. Nothing else needs my attention right now." English stays with you, but it doesn't demand focus. It blends into the background of your mind. Now imagine a soft memory of a conversation you once had. Someone asked, "Are you okay?" And you answered, "Yeah, I'm okay. Just a bit tired." They smiled and said, "That's understandable. Get some rest." Your brain remembers how English sounds when people care, when they speak gently. Now, imagine a simple plan for tomorrow, forming quietly. I'll take things one step at a time. No need to rush. That sentence feels steady, reassuring. Now let's slow everything down further. Notice the pauses between thoughts, the space between sentences. English doesn't fill the silence. It moves with it. Now imagine hearing a calm voice say, "You don't need to be perfect to be fluent. You just need time and consistency." And those words settle easily, because they make sense. Now, imagine waking up in the future, not tomorrow, but someday soon, and realizing that English feels more familiar, that listening feels easier, that you understand without trying so hard. And you think, something has changed. It feels more natural now. That realization comes quietly, without celebration, just awareness. Now imagine another everyday interaction. Someone asks, "What have you been up to lately?" And you reply, "Just focusing on myself and taking things a bit slower." They nod and say, "That's important." You answer, "Yeah, I'm learning that." Notice the maturity in those sentences, the balance, the calm tone. Now imagine sitting quietly again, maybe late at night, and thinking, "I don't need noise right now. I'm good just being here." That thought exists easily in English because it matches a real feeling. Now let your breathing deepen slightly. In, pause, out, pause, and with each breath, English continues to weave itself into your thinking patterns. Now imagine a moment of reassurance. Someone says, "You're doing better than you think." And you respond, "Maybe you're right. I guess I don't always notice my progress." That exchange feels honest, reflective. Now imagine the night stretching on, time losing its edges, and you no longer track minutes or hours. You just rest. English becomes part of that rest. Now imagine a final soft thought passing through your mind. I'm allowed to learn at my own pace. And that sentence stays with you. Now remain here, suspended between listening and resting, allowing English to continue its quiet work, building familiarity, comfort, and confidence. Slowly, naturally, without effort, as you drift deeper into calm. The stillness feels thicker now, like a soft blanket around your thoughts, and everything slows just a little more. English continues to move quietly underneath, steady and familiar. Imagine the sound of your breath matching the calm rhythm of the night, slow and even, and notice how your mind no longer jumps from idea to idea. It simply rests. Now imagine a small, ordinary moment from earlier. Maybe someone asked you, "Did you eat yet?" And you answered, "Yeah, I had something simple. Nothing fancy." That exchange feels real, practical, and common. Now imagine another voice replying, "That's good. At least you had something." And you think, "Yeah, it's better than nothing." These are the kinds of phrases people use without thinking, and your brain is learning them by feeling, not memorizing. Now let your thoughts drift gently to a quiet indoor space. Maybe a living room late at night. The lights are low, and someone nearby says, "I'm starting to feel sleepy." You reply softly, "Yeah, same here. It's been a long day." They nod and say, "We should probably get some rest." You answer, "Yeah, that's a good idea." These simple agreements are part of real fluency, responding naturally to shared moments. Now imagine sitting alone for a moment, listening to the quiet, and thinking, "I like this calm. It helps me reset." That sentence feels personal, grounded, honest. Now imagine checking the clock briefly and thinking, "It's later than I thought. Time really flew by." That observation is something people say often, because it's true so many times. Now imagine a short message arriving. It says, "Let's talk tomorrow." And you reply, "Sounds good. Talk to you then." Notice how relaxed that feels. No urgency, no pressure. Now let's gently shape a few deeper inner thoughts together. I'm becoming more comfortable with everyday English. I understand tone and intention more clearly. Listening feels natural and safe. Let those ideas settle quietly. Now, imagine the night outside, becoming completely still. Fewer sounds, fewer distractions. And you think, everything feels quiet now. Like the world is resting too. That sentence feels poetic, but still natural. Something a native speaker might think without saying out loud. Now imagine lying down again, your body sinking into comfort. And English becomes like a background presence, almost invisible, but still working. Now imagine a memory of a conversation from the past. Someone once said, "Don't worry too much. Things have a way of working out. And you replied, I hope so. I guess I just need to be patient. That exchange carries reassurance, patience, trust. Now imagine another everyday question someone might ask you soon. How's everything going with work or studies? And you reply calmly, It's going all right. I'm making progress, even if it's slow sometimes. They nod and say, Progress is progress. You respond, Exactly. That's what I keep telling myself. These sentences reflect maturity and balance. Now imagine a soft pause, where no thoughts appear for a moment. Just breathing, just presence. And English waits patiently in that space. Now imagine a gentle inner reminder, forming. I don't need to rush my learning. Consistency matters more than speed. That idea settles deeply. Now imagine waking briefly in the middle of the night, half asleep, and thinking in English without effort. Everything's fine. Just go back to sleep. That moment shows how language integrates naturally, even when you're not fully awake. Now imagine drifting again, deeper, heavier, and English becomes quieter, simpler, reduced to tone and feeling rather than words. Now, imagine another small interaction. Someone asks, Are you comfortable? And you reply, Yeah, I'm comfortable. Thanks for asking. That exchange feels caring, human. Now, imagine a future moment, not far away, where someone speaks to you in English a bit faster than usual. And instead of panicking, you stay calm. You catch the meaning, even if you miss a word or two, and you think, I understand enough. That's what matters. That confidence grows quietly. Now imagine sitting somewhere public again, maybe a park bench, and overhearing someone say, I just need a break from everything. Another voice responds, I know exactly what you mean. Your brain understands the emotion instantly, without translating. Now imagine thinking, Yeah, I get that too. Life can be a lot sometimes. That thought feels natural, empathetic. Now, let your breathing slow further, almost effortless. And with each breath, English continues to integrate, not as something separate, but as part of how you think and feel. Now imagine a final gentle reassurance drifting through your mind. You're learning even when you're resting. Your brain is doing its job, and that truth feels comforting. Now remain in this quiet state, suspended between listening and sleep, letting English continue its slow, steady work, building understanding, confidence, and calm, naturally, effortlessly. As you rest, the quiet now feels complete, like nothing needs to happen next, and your mind rests inside that feeling. English continues softly, not pushing forward, just staying with you. Imagine the gentle weight of rest, settling into your body. Shoulders loose, jaw relaxed, breath slow, and in this calm state, your mind becomes more open than ever. Now imagine a very ordinary moment, the kind that happens every day. You're standing near a window, looking outside without really thinking about anything, and a simple thought passes through your mind. It's nice to just pause for a bit. That sentence feels effortless, honest, something you might think without even noticing. Now, imagine someone nearby, saying quietly, It's been a busy week, and you respond, Yeah, it really has. I'm glad it's slowing down. That exchange carries relief, shared understanding, and your brain absorbs how English expresses those emotions. Simply. Now imagine another small interaction. Someone asks, "Do you want to talk about it now or later?" And you reply calmly, "Maybe later. I just need a little time to myself first." Notice how natural that feels, how clearly it communicates boundaries without sounding harsh. Now let your thoughts drift again. Imagine sitting comfortably, maybe leaning back, and thinking, "I don't feel the need to fill the silence. It's okay to just be quiet." That thought exists easily in English because it matches a real feeling. Now, imagine checking your phone again. Not urgently, just out of habit, and seeing a message that says, "Hope you're doing all right." You smile slightly and type back, "Yeah, I'm doing okay. Just taking things one step at a time." Notice the calm confidence in that reply. Now imagine the room growing darker, the light softer, and you think, everything feels gentler at night, less demanding. That observation feels natural, reflective. Now, imagine a short memory from earlier in the day. Someone said, "Take it easy," and you replied, "I will." Thanks. Your brain remembers how common and comforting those phrases are. Now let's gently form a few deeper inner sentences together. I don't need to impress anyone with my English. Communication matters more than perfection. I understand more than I realize. Let those ideas rest quietly. Now imagine lying down again, adjusting slightly to get more comfortable, and thinking, "This feels better. I can finally relax." That sentence feels complete, grounded. Now imagine a voice in the distance saying, "Get some rest. You've earned it." And you understand the tone, the kindness, without effort. Now imagine another everyday conversation. Someone asks, "How did everything turn out?" And you respond, "It worked out in the end. Not exactly how I planned, but it's fine." They nod and say, "That's how it usually goes." You reply, "Yeah, I'm learning to accept that." Notice the maturity and realism in those sentences. Now imagine sitting quietly again, maybe listening to distant sounds, and thinking, "I don't need to react to everything. Some things can just pass by." That thought feels calm, centered. Now imagine the night, stretching further, time losing importance, and your thoughts becoming fewer, more spacious. English adapts to that space, becoming simpler, softer. Now, imagine someone asking you, "What helps you relax?" And you answer honestly. Quiet moments like this, when there's no pressure to do anything, they smile and say, "I get that." You reply, "Yeah, it makes a big difference." Those sentences feel sincere, decent, personal. Now imagine another short exchange. Someone says, "Let's talk tomorrow." You respond, "Sure, we'll catch up then." And there's no anxiety attached to that promise, just ease. Now, let your breathing slow, even more, almost automatic. And with each breath, English becomes less about words and more about tone, intention, feeling. Now imagine a brief inner reminder appearing. It's okay to go slow. Learning doesn't need to feel hard. That idea settles deeply. Now imagine waking up slightly at some point during the night, half aware, and a simple thought forms in English. Everything's all right. Just rest. And you drift back without effort. That shows how deeply the language is settling in. Now, imagine a future moment again. You're in a conversation, and someone speaks casually, naturally, and instead of analyzing, you just listen. You follow along. You respond when it's your turn. And afterward, you realize, I didn't overthink that. It just happened. That realization feels quiet but powerful. Now imagine sitting somewhere familiar again, maybe the same place you are now, and thinking, I feel more at ease than before. Not just with English, but in general. That thought feels honest. Now imagine a gentle voice saying, progress doesn't always feel dramatic. Sometimes it feels like calm, and you understand that immediately. Now let your thoughts slow further. Spaces between them growing longer. English stays present, but subtle, almost like a soft hum. Now imagine another everyday phrase drifting through your mind. It is what it is, and you understand its meaning fully. The acceptance, the calm behind it. Now imagine one last small interaction. Someone asks, are you ready to rest? And you answer, yeah, I think I am. That response feels final, peaceful. Now remain here, in this quiet state, where listening and resting blend together, allowing English to continue its gentle work, reinforcing familiarity, confidence, and ease, not through effort, but through presence. As you stay calm, safe, and deeply relaxed, the calm now feels almost endless, like time has stretched and softened around you, and your mind floats comfortably inside that space. English continues quietly, not asking for attention, simply existing with you. Imagine the steady rhythm of your breathing, slow and deep, and notice how thoughts appear less often now, and when they do, they pass gently. Now, imagine a very simple moment, the kind that often goes unnoticed. You're lying still, and you think, I don't need to do anything right now. And that thought feels reassuring, freeing. Now imagine a memory of a soft conversation from some evening. Someone said, you don't have to worry about it tonight. And you replied, you're right. It can wait. Your brain remembers how English sounds when it reassures, when it releases pressure. Now imagine another everyday situation. You're asked a question, maybe earlier today. Are you feeling okay? And you answered honestly, yeah, I'm just a bit worn out. But I'm all right. Notice how natural that balance feels. Acknowledging tiredness without drama. Now let your mind drift again. Imagine sitting somewhere quiet during the day, maybe waiting for something, and thinking, I don't mind waiting. It gives me time to think. That sentence feels calm, patient. Now imagine someone nearby saying, sorry to keep you waiting. And you reply, that's okay. Take your time. These phrases are part of daily life. Spoken without effort. Understood instantly. Now imagine another small exchange. Someone asks, do you want to talk about it? And you respond, maybe later. I just need some space right now. Notice how English allows you to express needs gently, clearly, without conflict. Now, let's guide a few deeper inner thoughts together. I trust the process of learning. I don't need to control every step. Listening is enough for now. Let those ideas rest in your mind. Now imagine the night growing even quieter, as if the world itself has slowed down to match your breathing. And you think, everything feels still, in a good way. That observation feels peaceful. Now imagine lying comfortably, shifting slightly, and thinking, this position feels right. Small adjustments, simple thoughts. Now imagine a soft memory from earlier in the week. Someone said, "You've been doing a lot lately." And you replied, "Yeah, I think I need to slow down a bit." They nodded and said, "That sounds wise." Your brain absorbs how English carries reflection and self-awareness. Now, imagine another everyday phrase passing through your mind. "I'll deal with it when the time comes." And you understand its meaning fully, the calm acceptance behind it. Now, imagine a quiet morning in the future. You wake up feeling rested, and a simple thought forms in English. "I slept well." That feels nice. No effort. No translation. Just understanding. Now imagine getting ready slowly. Thinking, "There's no need to rush today. I'll take things as they come." That mindset feels balanced. Now imagine someone greeting you later and asking, "How are you feeling today?" And you reply, "I feel better, more rested than before." They smile and say, "That's good to hear." You answer, "Yeah, it makes a big difference." Those sentences flow naturally. Now let your mind drift back to the present, to this quiet moment. And notice how English has blended into your inner world. It's no longer something separate. Now imagine another small interaction. Someone says, "Let me know if you need anything." And you reply, "I will. Thanks. I appreciate it." Short, sincere, human. Now imagine sitting alone again and thinking, "I'm okay being on my own right now." That thought feels calm, confident. Now imagine the night continuing, uninterrupted, and your thoughts becoming softer, less defined. English adapts to that softness, becoming more about tone and feeling than structure. Now imagine a gentle reminder forming inside. It's okay to rest deeply. Learning doesn't stop when you sleep. That idea feels comforting. Now imagine a future conversation. Someone speaks casually, using everyday expressions. And you understand the intention, the emotion, even if you don't analyze every word. And you think, "I'm following along. This feels easier." That realization brings quiet confidence. Now imagine another phrase drifting by. Take it one day at a time. And you understand it completely. The patience, the steadiness. Now imagine someone asking you, "What matters most to you right now?" And you answer, "Feeling calm and balanced. Taking care of myself." That response feels honest, grounded. Now imagine lying still again. The space between thoughts growing longer, and English resting quietly in that space. Now imagine a final everyday exchange. Someone says, "Everything will be fine." And you reply, "I know. I just need to trust that." That exchange carries reassurance, acceptance. Now, let your breathing slow further, almost imperceptible. And with each breath, English continues its quiet work, reinforcing familiarity, confidence, and ease, not through effort, but through time and presence. Now remain here, in this deep calm, where listening and resting blend together, allowing the language to settle even deeper, becoming part of how you think, how you feel, how you move through the world, quietly, naturally, without resistance. As you rest, the stillness now feels complete, as if nothing is missing, and your mind rests comfortably inside that calm. English continues quietly, almost invisibly, like a familiar background sound you no longer notice. Imagine the slow rise and fall of your breath, steady and effortless. And notice how your thoughts no longer need to form full sentences. They appear softly and fade away. Now imagine a very ordinary memory. From some quiet evening, someone asked, "Are you tired?" And you answered, "Yeah, a little." But it's the good kind of tired. That sentence feels honest and familiar. Now, imagine the other person smiling and saying, "Then you'll probably sleep well tonight." And you think, "Yeah, I think I will." Your brain absorbs the calm certainty in those words. Now imagine another everyday moment. You're sitting quietly and thinking, "I don't feel the need to check anything right now. I'm okay just being here." That thought feels peaceful. Now imagine someone nearby asking, "Do you want anything before we settle in?" And you reply, "No, I'm all set. Thanks." Short, polite, complete. Now let your mind drift again. Imagine the soft sound of nighttime. Maybe distant traffic. Maybe nothing at all. And you think, everything sounds muted now. Like the world has turned the volume down. That observation feels natural, reflective. Now, imagine a small conversation from earlier in the day. Someone said, "Don't push yourself too hard." And you replied, "I know. I'm trying to find a better balance." They nodded and said, "That's all any of us can do." Your brain understands the meaning behind those words immediately. Now imagine another simple exchange. Someone asks, "How did you end up feeling about it?" And you respond, "Better than I expected. Once I let it go a bit." Notice the maturity and calm in that sentence. Now, let's gently guide a few deeper inner thoughts together. I'm learning to be patient with myself. Understanding grows naturally over time. Listening is enough, right now. Let those ideas rest quietly. Now imagine lying completely still, your body fully supported, and thinking, "I don't need to move. Everything is fine as it is." That thought brings comfort. Now imagine a gentle reminder drifting through your mind. It's okay to slow down. Nothing important is being missed. That idea settles deeply. Now imagine a future morning again. Not rushing, not alarmed. You wake slowly and think, "I feel rested. My mind feels clear." That thought feels easy. Now imagine someone asking you later that day, "Did you sleep well?" And you answer, "Yeah, I did. I really needed it." They reply, "I'm glad. It shows." And you think, maybe it does. Those sentences flow naturally. Now imagine another everyday phrase passing through your thoughts. Things are starting to make more sense, and you understand its meaning fully, not just intellectually, but emotionally. Now imagine sitting quietly, somewhere public, overhearing someone say, "I just needed a moment to breathe." Another voice responds, "Yeah, sometimes that's all you need." And you think, that's true. Your brain connects language to shared human experience. Now, imagine a brief, inner pause, where there are no words at all, just breath and presence. English waits calmly in that space. Now imagine a small, gentle thought forming. "I'm not behind. I'm exactly where I need to be." That sentence feels reassuring. Now imagine someone asking you, "What helps you feel grounded?" And you answer, "Quiet moments. It's simpler routines." not rushing. They nod and say, "That makes sense." You reply, "Yeah, it helps more than I realized." Now imagine another calm exchange. Someone says, "We'll figure it out when the time comes." And you respond, "Yeah, no need to stress about it now." That acceptance feels natural. Now imagine the night deepening further, your thoughts slowing even more, and English becomes almost like a feeling rather than language. Now, imagine hearing a soft inner voice say, "You're doing fine. Just keep going gently." And you understand it completely. Now imagine waking briefly again during the night, half asleep, and thinking in English without effort. Everything's okay. Just rest. And you drift back down. Now imagine a future conversation where someone speaks casually, using everyday expressions, and you stay relaxed. You catch the meaning. You respond naturally. And afterward, you don't replay the conversation in your head. You simply move on. That ease feels quiet but powerful. Now imagine sitting somewhere familiar again, maybe the same place you are now, and thinking, "I feel more at peace than before." That thought feels honest. Now, imagine another simple phrase drifting through your mind, one thing at a time, and you understand its calm wisdom. Now imagine someone asking, "Are you ready to let the day end?" And you reply, "Yeah, I think I am." That response feels final, restful. Now let your breathing slow even further, almost imperceptible. And with each breath, English continues its quiet work, reinforcing familiarity, confidence, and ease, not through effort, but through gentle repetition and presence. Now remain here, in this deep, steady, calm, where listening and resting merge completely, allowing English to settle even deeper, becoming part of how you think, how you feel, and how you move through your days, quietly, naturally, without pressure. As you rest, the calm now feels settled, stable, like it isn't going anywhere, and your mind rests inside it without effort. English remains present but almost transparent, working quietly beneath awareness. Imagine the gentle rhythm of your breathing, continuing on its own, slow and steady. And notice how there is no urge to think ahead, no need to review anything. You are simply here. Now, imagine a very soft moment, one that happens often, but rarely stands out. You're lying still, and a simple thought passes through your mind. "I'm comfortable right now." And that thought feels complete, reassuring. Now imagine a memory from some ordinary day. Someone asked, "Are you feeling any better?" And you replied, "Yeah, a bit better than before." Taking it day by day. Notice how natural that response feels. Honest, balanced. Now imagine the other person nodding and saying, "That's good. Progress doesn't have to be fast." And you think, "That's true." Your brain absorbs how English carries reassurance without exaggeration. Now imagine another everyday exchange. Someone says, "You don't have to decide tonight." And you respond, "Thanks. I appreciate that. I'll think about it later." Those words feel calm, respectful, clear. Now let your thoughts drift again. Imagine sitting quietly in the early morning or late night. Time feels blurred, and you think, "I like moments when nothing is expected of me." That sentence feels peaceful. Now imagine someone nearby saying softly, "Take your time." And you understand, Not just the words, but the intention behind them. Now imagine a small interaction from daily life. Someone asks, "Do you want me to remind you tomorrow?" And you reply, "Yeah, that would help. Thank you." Short, natural, human. Now let's gently guide a few deeper inner sentences together. I'm learning to listen without tension. English feels less like a task and more like a presence. My understanding grows quietly. Let those ideas settle without effort. Now imagine the quiet stretching further, and your thoughts slowing even more, sometimes fading before they fully form. English adapts to that quiet, becoming softer, simpler. Now imagine another memory. Someone once said, "It's okay to change your mind." And you replied, "Yeah, I'm realizing that." That exchange feels mature, accepting. Now imagine lying completely still again and thinking, "There's nothing I need to hold on to right now." That thought feels freeing. Now imagine a future morning. You wake slowly, not startled, and a simple sentence forms in English. "I feel rested." That's nice. No translation, no effort. Now imagine getting up and moving gently, thinking, "I'll start the day slowly." There's no rush. That mindset feels grounded. Now, imagine someone greeting you later and asking, "How are you feeling today?" And you reply, "Pretty good. Actually, feeling more balanced." They smile and say, "That's great to hear." You answer, "Yeah." It makes a difference. These sentences flow naturally. Now, imagine returning to the present moment, this quiet space, and noticing how English has blended into your inner world. It no longer stands out. It belongs. Now, imagine another small exchange. Someone says, "Let's leave it for now." And you reply, "Yeah, that sounds fine. We can come back to it later." Notice how flexible. It's three, and natural that feels. Now, imagine sitting alone again and thinking, "I don't need constant stimulation. Quiet feels good." That thought feels confident. Now imagine the night continuing without interruption, and your thoughts becoming fewer, more spacious. English becomes almost like tone and intention rather than words. Now imagine a gentle reminder forming inside. I'm allowed to rest deeply. Learning doesn't stop when I'm not trying. That idea feels comforting. Now imagine a future conversation again. Someone speaks casually, using everyday expressions, and you stay relaxed. You don't analyze. You simply listen and respond. And afterward, you don't replay the conversation. You just move on. That ease feels natural. Now imagine another phrase drifting by. Take it easy. And you understand its meaning fully, the kindness behind it. Now imagine someone asking you, "What do you need most right now?" And you answer honestly, "Rest and a bit of quiet." They nod and say, "That makes sense." You reply, "Yeah, it really does." Those sentences feel sincere. Now imagine lying still again. The space between thoughts growing longer, and English resting quietly in that space. Now imagine one final everyday exchange. Someone says, "Everything will work out." And you reply, "I know. I just need to be patient." That exchange carries calm trust. Now, let your breathing slow even further, almost imperceptible. And with each breath, English continues its quiet work, reinforcing familiarity, confidence, and ease, not through effort, but through presence and time. Now remain here, in this deep, steady calm, where listening and resting are the same thing, allowing English to settle even deeper, becoming part of how you think, how you feel, and how you move through life, quietly, naturally, without pressure. As you rest, the quiet now feels complete and unbroken, as if you've reached a place where nothing needs to change, and your mind rests there comfortably. English remains with you, subtle and steady, no longer something you notice, just something that exists. Imagine the soft rhythm of your breathing, continuing on its own, slow and calm, and notice how your body feels fully supported. There's no tension to release, no adjustment to make. Now, imagine a very gentle thought passing through your mind. I'm safe to rest here. And that thought feels grounding. Now, imagine a memory from a simple conversation. Someone once said, "You don't always have to have everything figured out." And you replied, "Yeah, I'm starting to understand that." Those words feel settled now. No longer something to question, just something to accept. Now imagine another everyday moment. You're asked, "How are things lately?" And you respond, "Things are okay. Not perfect, but steady." Notice how balanced that sounds. How natural it feels to say. Now imagine the other person nodding and saying, "Steady is good." And you agree quietly, because it is. Now let your thoughts drift again. Imagine a calm stretch of time where nothing interrupts you. No messages, no notifications, just quiet. And you think, "I don't miss the noise right now." That thought feels honest. Now imagine someone gently saying, "It's okay to disconnect for a while." And you understand immediately, without explanation. Now imagine another small interaction from daily life. Someone asks, "Do you want to leave it until tomorrow?" And you reply, "Yeah, tomorrow's fine." There's no rush. Those words feel easy, unforced. Now let's guide a few final inner thoughts together. I trust myself more than before. I don't need to rush my progress. English feels familiar and calm. Let those ideas settle deeply. Now, imagine the night reaching its quietest point, when even distant sounds fade, and you think, everything feels still, almost suspended. That observation feels peaceful. Now imagine lying completely still, your breath barely noticeable, and English becomes almost abstract. Less about sentences, more about feeling and rhythm. Now imagine a future moment again. Some days from now, you're in a conversation, and you notice something quietly surprising. You're not translating. You're not searching for words. You're just responding. And afterward you think, that felt normal. That realization doesn't excite you. It simply feels right. Now imagine another everyday phrase, drifting through your mind. No need to overthink it. And you understand exactly what it means. Now, imagine someone asking you, "What helped you get here?" And you answer, "Listening consistently and staying calm." That response feels true. Now imagine sitting quietly again, perhaps just like now, and thinking, "I don't feel pressure anymore." That thought feels light, freeing. Now imagine a gentle reminder forming inside. Learning doesn't always feel like effort. Sometimes it feels like rest. And that idea settles completely. Now, imagine waking up at some point. not abruptly, but gently, and thinking in English without effort. It's a new day, and that feels natural. Now imagine moving through that day calmly, conversations flowing without tension, listening without fear, responding without hesitation. And you don't label it as progress. You just live it. Now imagine another simple exchange. Someone says, "You seem more relaxed lately." And you reply, "Yeah, I feel more at ease." Notice how quietly powerful that sentence feels. Now imagine returning to this moment one last time. This quiet space, and noticing how English feels like part of you now, not something external. Now imagine a final everyday phrase settling into your mind. Everything's okay, and you understand it fully, emotionally, not just intellectually. Now let your breathing slow to its natural resting rhythm, effortless, steady, and with each breath, English remains integrated, calm, familiar. Now imagine letting go of even the idea of listening, allowing sound and silence to blend together. Now imagine drifting fully into rest, where words fade and only calm remains. And in that calm, your mind continues to learn, quietly, naturally, without awareness, without effort. Now stay here, resting deeply, allowing English to remain part of you as you sleep, as you rest, as you move forward, steady, familiar, and completely your own. Here's something personal I want to share with you, and I want you to hear it slowly, calmly, without judgment, because this part matters just as much as the listening itself. Over the years of learning and using English, and after watching how thousands of learners struggle in very similar ways, I've noticed something important. Most people are not failing because English is too hard. They're stuck because they're approaching it with habits that quietly work against them. Habits that feel logical at first, but slowly block real progress. One of the most common mistakes is trying to understand everything perfectly. Every word, every sentence, every sound. This creates tension, and tension is the enemy of natural listening. Native speakers don't understand every word they hear either. They understand intention, context, dawn, and meaning as a whole. When you try to catch every single word, your brain stays in control mode instead of learning mode. The solution is not to listen harder, but to listen softer, allow gaps, allow uncertainty. Trust that meaning will still come through. Another very common mistake is translating in your head. This happens automatically for many learners, especially those who studied English academically for years. The problem is that translation creates a delay, and that delay breaks flow. Real English happens in real time. There is no pause to translate. The way to reduce this habit is not to fight it directly, but to replace it. Instead of asking yourself, "What does this word mean in my language?" ask yourself, "What is happening here? What is the situation? What is the feeling?" Your brain understands situations much faster than vocabulary. Another issue I see often is people believing they are bad at listening because they miss words. But missing words is normal, even at advanced levels. What matters is whether you still understand the message. If you understand the message, your listening is working. Fluency is not about perfection. It's about continuity. Another mistake is choosing content that is either too hard or too boring. If it's too hard, your brain shuts down. If it's too boring, your brain disengages. The best content feels slightly challenging, but emotionally comfortable. That's why everyday conversations, calm podcasts, and natural monologues work so well. Your brain stays relaxed while still learning. Consistency is another hidden problem. Many people listen intensely for a few days, then stop for a week, then restart. The brain learns through repetition over time, not through bursts of effort. Even 20 or 30 minutes every day is more powerful than long sessions once in a while, especially when your goal is fluency. Another mistake is judging yourself while listening. Thoughts like, I should understand more by now, or why is this still hard, create stress, and stress blocks absorption. Learning a language is not a straight line. Some days feel easy. Some days feel confusing. That doesn't mean you're going backward. It means your brain is reorganizing information. One more common issue is focusing too much on speaking before listening is solid. Speaking grows naturally out of listening. When you hear enough natural English, your brain starts predicting structures and phrases, and speaking becomes easier without forcing it. This is why passive listening, especially in relaxed states like before sleep, is so effective. Your brain is open, less critical, more receptive. Now, here's how to gently correct these issues without pressure. First, accept that not understanding everything is normal, even necessary. Second, choose content like this, where English flows naturally and calmly. Third, listen regularly, not intensely. Fourth, allow your mind to wander while listening. Learning still happens. Fifth, stop measuring progress day by day. Instead, notice changes over weeks, like understanding more without effort, feeling less tired while listening, or reacting emotionally to English. These are signs of real progress. And finally, trust the process. Your brain knows how to learn languages. It has done it before. The problem was never your ability. It was the environment and the approach. This video is designed to give your brain the right environment. Calm, natural, repetitive, real. You don't need to push. You don't need to force. You just need to stay close to the language. Let it be part of your routine, part of your rest, part of your quiet moments. Over time, English stops feeling foreign. It starts feeling familiar. And one day you realize you're not trying anymore. You're just understanding. And that's when fluency begins.